today we are going to talk about some very interesting topic about teaching entrepreneurship and what it is and how to become the owner of your own teaching business. And that's a very important thing that we just talked about 5 seconds ago. In the break room, is that you have to change your mindset to from just having, oh, I want some side students, I want to get some, earn some little cash. We are going to talk about changing your mindset to become an entrepreneur and to treat what you do, to treat teaching. Oh my God, that's a mouthful. To cheat. Oh no. To treat teaching as a business and how you're going to do that. Okay, let me share my screen and we're going to take a look at my presentation. Right, so here we are. So this is me, Polina Venglovskaia. You've seen some information about me there earlier. I'm not going to talk much about me, and let's not waste time on that. The first thing I want to know is where you are right now, what stage you are on, what kind of people we have here with us. Are you a new teacher? Maybe you have very little experience. Have you just started working for an online school or maybe just a school organization? Maybe you work with a platform. Do you already have some personal individual students? Maybe you have already started working independently, or maybe some of us already have their own thriving teaching business. Let's see what kind of audience we have here, and maybe this will give us an idea of what kind of things we should focus on more. Please scan the QR code and go on a poll. It will take you a few seconds. While you are at it, the QR code is there on the left of the screen. So it's still there. Let me break down what exactly I'm going to talk about. I have divided my talk into 4 parts. So these are the 4 things we are going to focus on. The first is understanding independence. What exactly it is. What does it mean to go independent? What does it mean to start your own teaching business? And is it even for you? Because honestly, and maybe a bit controversially, it's not for everyone. So we will see if it's for you. The next one are going to be first steps to independence. What are the very first things you need to do if you want to go independent and have your own teaching business? Then we're going to talk about some business foundations. What things you need to consider when you are already independent, what kind of things to focus on. And these are things that a lot of people, they don't know about or they forget to consider, and they're very important. And finally, we're going to move on to competition and growth. And this is something that will come a bit later in your career path, and something that people who already have their teaching business will really enjoy listening to. So let's take a look at some poll results and see what kind of people we have here with us. Just a second. Here we go. Yes, okay. So the majority work for a school or an online platform, 50%, exactly the half. Then we have a few people working for a school and having some personal students. Okay, some teaching their students independently and some already have their thriving teaching business. I do hope that today's talk is going to be really interesting to everyone. And even if you already have your own teaching business, I'm going to give you some tips and some advice that you might not have considered and provide some answers to questions that you might have been buzzing in your head. Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay, here we are. So to begin with, understanding independence, what it is. We are going to address fundamental question, why even become an independent teacher, and is it for you? It's not only about creating some, extra income, getting some cash, it's about creating a sustainable business that aligns with your values, with your experience, with your life goals. And this is something that you need to consider. If you already work for a school platform, you probably know that there are certain advantages to doing that. But there will be things that you sacrifice when you work for a school or a platform or any organization. So let's take a look at what they are. The first benefit, obviously, is regular employment benefits. So these are things like holiday pay, sick leave, maternity leave, if you're officially employed, of course, regular pay. So you do not need to worry about that. There is some financial stability and security connected to it. The next part is simplified student acquisition, which means that the company, the school organization, they take over the pain of looking for new students for you, and you don't have to market yourself. You don't have to look for, where do I find the students? They do that for you. And one more thing is that schools, organizations, they give you an opportunity to teach groups or even get into corporate education, which, can be real hard sometimes to do on your own. We will talk about how to do that later. But this is something that, for example, less experienced teachers will love because they can get this experience of working with groups or doing corporate education, doing business English, I don't know, doing kind of extracurricular things, speaking clubs. These are very important things to have experience with. And finally, professional community support. This is invaluable, especially for younger or, sorry about the word, less experienced, let's say, teachers. This means that a good school, a good organization will often arrange certain training for you. You will have regular teachers' meetings. You will have support from your director of studies, from your more experienced senior colleagues. And this helps you grow. It really boosts your professional growth as a teacher. And these things are really hard to find on your own sometimes. So we will talk about how to leverage that later, but this is something that is really valuable that you get. Now, what do you sacrifice? What are the drawbacks of working for a school? If you do work for a school, you will know. Well, the first one is usually lower wages with fixed rates, and it's extremely hard to negotiate the raise. Sometimes you will get, the regular annual raise or, something like that. But once you are working on that fixed rate, it's virtually impossible to negotiate a raise. I'm talking from personal experience of myself and my colleagues. Another thing is limited control over work conditions. The school's organizations will usually dictate when you work and who you work with. And so you do not really have a say in that, unfortunately. Can you take a break? Can you, I don't know, go on holiday, and when to do that? Those are things I'm talking about. Next is extra administrative work. And especially if you work with children, you will have to, fill out some kind of progress report cards. You will have to communicate with parents. Not that you don't have to do that working independently, but this is more standardized and you don't have a say in when this happens and how this happens. So maybe you will have a parents meeting, or you will have to call them and talk about their child, filling in attendance sheets, a lot of these things. And surprisingly, these things are not incorporated in your pay. Usually, these are extra things you do without compensation. And they are just part of your work. You are just paid for teaching and not paid for this, but you have to do this when you work for a school. And finally, reduce flexibility in teaching methods. Schools, organizations, they usually have to provide a standardized, quantifiable experience to the customers, to their clients. And when they market themselves, they usually advertise, the courses, specific course books, specific results. And so you will generally have to follow a curriculum that is set for you. There will be a plan, there will be, set assessments. And if your students work at a different pace, it will not benefit them because you have to rush them to achieve those results. And also working with course books that you don't like, maybe they do not work for your particular student's needs. Maybe you want to do creative work, do your own exercises, extra kind of practice, I don't know, fillers, and those kind of activities. They are usually discouraged. You do not really have time for that. And although on paper, your company may say, well, we encourage teacher creativity and things like that. In practice, this is often not so, and even frowned upon. So those are the things. It may look now, judging by all this, that there are more disadvantages than advantages. And you might think, why would anyone work for an organization, school, or a platform? Well, the thing is that this is not just numbers. Every point here has a certain value, has a certain weight that is determined by you. What is important to you and what things matter to you more than the others? If you are, as I've said many times before, if you are a less experienced teacher just starting on your path, these advantages will definitely outweigh all the disadvantages. It gives you experience, it gives you support, growth, it gives you students, and you have security. If you don't want, the pain of having your own teaching business, if you don't want to grow and you're fine with where you are, that's valid. Because today's world values high achievers and ambition, but I don't think it's important. It's not for everyone. And you are valid where you are. And if you enjoy just, working for a school, they have all the responsibility and you just come to teach. And yes, you do some extra things, but that's fine for you. That's all right. That this is just not for you. It's okay. And you don't have to feel bad about not, striving for some unattainable goals or whatever. But let's take a look at who is this for after all. So why do you need to choose independent? Answer these questions. Do you value personal freedom in teaching approach? Do you want to decide what you do in class, what kind of materials you use, who your students are? Then it's for you. Do you want to control over student selection and work schedule? Do you want to know when you work? Do you want to choose when you go on a holiday, when you have a break, when you reschedule the lessons, or when you can cancel them? Do you want to choose exact particular people and say no to the ones you don't like? This is for you. And finally, if you really want to boost your income, if you want financial independence, if you want to increase your revenue, this is also for you. So, with that aside, let's move on to the next part. First steps to independence. Okay, so the first steps are the first 4 questions that you will need to ask yourself. And mind you, I'm going to talk about very practical things that you might need to consider, that you can just sit down and write down and put it all on paper and take a look at what can happen, what you're going to do. So hopefully this will help. So the first thing, what aspects of teaching bring you the most satisfaction? So why is this important to ask yourself? What kind of answers you can elicit from yourself? First, if you like creating materials, for example, if you love creating certain kind of tailor-made resources, you can focus on developing these resources and courses and marketing them. If you like grammar explanation, standardized kind of tests and lessons, why not work with exam preparation if you strive there? If you're a very structured person that likes to plan things and deliver them. If you thrive on speaking activities and having fun and talking a lot, why not do speaking clubs? And presentation training, I don't know, and working on those things. So this will help you narrow sort of down what you are good at, what you enjoy. And when you enjoy what you do, this increases the value for everyone and it gives you job satisfaction and, it makes lives happier for you and your students as well. Okay, what kind of students do you connect with best? Consider age groups. Do you like working with kids or maybe teens or maybe adults? And I beg you, do not mix very different things. You can't teach everything to everyone. You have to focus on one thing and to not worry about, not having the opportunity for more clients. The right clients will be there. There are, 8 billion people on this planet? I don't know how many people live in your area, but working online is a thing. So you will get your students. It's when you do not teach everything to everyone, you do not stretch yourself too thin, and you can focus on exact kind of target audience and deliver materials for them, and then it saves time really. Okay, so age groups, what levels you feel comfortable working with. If you do not feel comfortable working with advanced levels, focus on beginners. You can specifically target beginner levels and say, I am best at helping people achieve, great success on the lower levels. I can teach you to speak and feel comfortable in everyday survival kind of situations when you travel within 3 months. This is something that you can think of. What kind of professionals are they? Do you enjoy working with business people, maybe creative people? Maybe you enjoy, I don't know, teens, as an age group. So that's number 2. Number 3, how much time can you dedicate to building your business? And this is specifically ties in with question number 4, what's your minimum viable income? So let's look at number 4 first, and that will bring us to number 3. You need to calculate how much money you need to earn every month. Sit down and think about your minimum monthly expenses. So how much money you spend on your rent, on your groceries, on food. Include emergency funds there. So if you're sick, for example, for a week, can you take a break? If you want to go on holiday, how much money do you need to put aside every month for that? Are you paying mortgage, for example? So these things should be calculated, and then you will get a sum of how much money you need every month, and then think of how many hours you can work every day. We're just starting here, we're not scaling or anything, we're talking about one-on-one lessons. So how many hours can you work in a day? Divide the sum by the hours you can work in a month, and you will get your fee. Basically, you will get your hourly fee. So this is the easiest way to calculate how much money you need to earn. This can be your target, but you do not have to quit your job immediately. And this is something important to understand. You do not have to go to cold turkey and just quit and I'm going independent now. Do it gradually. Do not force yourself into this. You can get one student on a weekend, then get two more, and then gradually you will take less hours working, few hours working for the school organization or platform, and then gradually you can completely go independent. Take it slow. Know your target income goal, how much money you need to earn to feel comfortable, to feel secure, and then gradually go there. Okay, so we are going to look now at specific steps you can take that I took, that I recommend others to take when you start. So you've decided to go independent, you've calculated your hourly rates, you've decided, yes, I'm going to do that, I want to find my students. So how do you find the students? First, tweak your offer. You need to understand what exactly you're offering them so they know what to expect from you. I said before, choose the age, the levels you feel comfortable with, what aspects you are good at. It can be exam preparation for teens, business English for professionals, general English for adults. It will be specific for you. This is not a niche. We're not talking about niching it or narrowing it too much down. This is just specifying what exactly you do. It's not too narrow, don't worry. Then a thing that may feel uncomfortable and that, some people forget about it. They don't know they can do this. You can. This is the thing that always brings students. And it has happened every time when I recommended this to new, teacherpreneurs. Tell everybody, if people don't know that you're a teacher and that you are open to new students, how will you get them? So make it public, make it known to everyone. You can make a post about it on social media. If you have Instagram, make a post about it, make a story about it, write it in your bio. Then ask your friends to repost it or to post it on their stories saying, this is my friend, she's a fantastic teacher, or he's my colleague, he's a fantastic teacher, he has some time for new students now, highly recommend. These first warm referrals that you get from the people, this word of mouth, it always works wonders. And another thing is you can also ask your existing students to do that, or your old students, so people you've worked with in the past and they're no longer your students, but they feel gratitude towards you. You can text them and say, hey, I'm looking for new students. I remember that we had great time together, like we worked fantastically. If you have any friends who are willing to study, who are looking for a teacher, could you recommend me? Or you can just say, hey, just if it's comfortable for you, no pressure, can you post about me on social media and saying, yes, this was my teacher, I liked studying with her, recommend her too. So you will get your first students this way immediately, I promise you. Now, the next thing is creating your basic online presence. So you're referred to you, they go on your social media, what do they see? How do they understand that they can trust you? How do they choose you here? So create your basic online presence by publishing information about who you are. Choose one platform. Do not, stretch yourself too thin here as well. If you're comfortable with Instagram, keep it Instagram. It can be Facebook. It can be LinkedIn. Usually I say LinkedIn is more for business professionals. So if you're targeting kind of business English, preparing for interviews, presentations, public speaking, this kind of thing, go on LinkedIn, find your clients there. If you want general English or young audience, for sure, Instagram is your place, and Facebook is also for general audiences, but that depends on your country, what platform is prevalent in your country, what platform people use. So that's thing. And then post regularly about you, like what you do, how you teach, what kind of expertise you have. You don't have to be a blogger. You don't have to make dancing videos or singing videos or funny videos like TikToks or Reels. You don't really have to do that. Just talk about things that matter to you. For example, if you're preparing for a lesson and you're creating an exercise, talk about that. Oh, I'm preparing for this student and I created this exercise for them, and this is what it will help them. So this will show that you care about your students, that you tailor your lessons. It will increase your value. Then maybe some funny moments from your lessons. If your students said something funny, or there was a miscommunication, it caused some laughs. These are great stories to share, and people always love looking at those things. Testimonials, of course. Testimonials are a bit tricky because if you elicit testimonials from your students, people always know that. So if you publish some testimonials from your students, people know that you asked them to do that, and that kind of decreases their value. So to increase the value back, ask for specific things, what exactly your student liked about learning with you, or share their whole story. So this student started at this point, and this is where I brought them, this is where we got at the end. Share their successes, share specific tangible results you had with the students, or ask them to give some tangible specific things. Not just, oh, this is a great teacher, I loved working with her. Why exactly was this teacher great? Why were you great? So this will increase the value of the testimonials. All right, moving on. This is a sort of an inspirational mind map, roadmap for you. This can be you. You can be working at a language school. You can be working at an organization. Imagine you're teaching business English. You get one private student on the weekend, on Saturdays, for example, who you teach. They refer you to a few students. You find students through referrals, through your friends, and suddenly you get 5, and those 5 bring more students, and then you go independent within a year, or sooner or slower. Go at your own pace. Do not push yourself, but it's really possible, and it's really easy to do. Well, maybe not super easy for everyone, but you can do it, and I believe in you. Okay, now moving on to business foundations. These are the things that you will need to consider when you're finally an independent teacher and you have some students already, or you want to treat it more professionally. So these are the 5 aspects that we're going to look at: initial contact with your clients, how to do that, the payment systems, pricing, rules, and the legal side of things. Okay. Initial contact. So this is how you communicate with the students when they just come to you. As I mentioned earlier, you need to have some kind of landing page, some kind of place where students can easily find information about you. Sorry. Okay, so it can be, as I said, if it's Instagram, clear everything super personal about yourself, delete all the highlights about traveling to Istanbul or Malaysia or wherever you go. Just keep the most important highlights: pricing, how I work, how to contact me or book a call, I don't know, rules of working with me. So things like that, testimonials. So very easy things that, very simple information, bullet points, and not overwhelming, that people can see, oh, okay, make a decision, contact you, let's go. There has to be a clear way to contact you. You have to write DM me, or here's the link to Calendly to book a discovery call with me. So that people can easily do that. Use Calendly, that's a fantastic tool for that. You can set certain hours or times when you are available for a call. People can go there, they can schedule like a 30-minute call with you this way, and you will see a notification about it on your email and in your calendar. Right, so then should this be free? If it's just a conversation, why not? We've had a discussion about this in the morning session. I think that no teaching time should be unpaid. So if your introductory lesson or discovery session involves you teaching, then what I do is a 50% off price of my regular rate. Now, payment. Research the payments that are prevalent in your country, in your region. It can be PayPal, it can be Wise, but these come with regulations and fees, so see what works for you. If it's a direct bank transfer, it can work as well, depending on what your students comfortable with and what will be the clearest way for them. And of course, document all the transactions for tax purposes. Tax purposes, do not forget about that. Now, pricing. How do you price yourself? We've already set what your target price should be, what your target hourly fee should be, but also do market research and see what kind of professionals, individual professionals in your sort of vicinity, in your kind of country, of your level charge. Find a fair advantage. And one thing you can do is a really great advice there. Yeah, person I give it, so it's great. Offer discounted packages. So this will make it easier for you to budget your monthly income and expenses. If you get payment for every lesson, do you do it before or after the lesson? Do you have to remind your students who forget to pay? This is really a pain in the neck. I highly advise you against that. So the best thing to do is to motivate your students for buying packages of lessons. It can be 4, 8, 10 lessons. Let's say you charge $30 per hour. You can offer a 10 lesson package for $270 with a 10% discount. So it will give some savings to students, and they will find it really nice. And also, you know how much money you have for the month. You can budget it. You can decide, what you spend it on. Oh, sorry, raise your prices regularly. Almost forgot. This is something that came to me with years of experience, and I wish I knew that straight away. You have to raise your prices regularly. Do that annually. You think of it as birthday for your business. Set it like the 1st of September, my prices increase by 10%. This will include inflation. And basically, because you grow as a professional, you invest in yourself. This helps you, grow as well. You warn your students about it straight away. I will talk about it a bit later. You can incorporate it in the rules and the agreement you sign with the student, and they know about it in advance. And you warn them that this is going to happen a month or two in advance, so like August or July, and just do that. This is a great thing. And finally, the rules. Again, my problem used to be that I didn't have a set agreement with the students before we just started working. I told them, a few things that were important, but they were never standardized or formalized. And I had my student who cancelled all the time, like 10 minutes before the lesson. And because we didn't have that agreement, I felt a little bit insecure about asking them to pay for the lesson. I always say, well, yes, okay, all right, let's cancel, okay, let's reschedule, okay. But I lost my time because I prepared for the lesson. I didn't place any other lesson on that time, and I really lost money on that, and I wasted my time. So now what I always have is a set agreement that I basically sign with every student. It doesn't have to have any legal value, but it's something that you both agree upon. So it should be like just a piece of paper that has all the information. The first of your teaching methodology, what you deliver, what you offer, what exactly you're going to do to get together. Now, cancellation policy with specific terms. When is it okay to cancel? What are the penalties for canceling? For me, it is a 24-hour cancellation policy, which means that if my students cancel less than that, they have to pay the full price of the lesson. And there are certain emergencies that I also write down that, we can reschedule or we can cancel. Okay, you ran rescheduling policies. The next thing, when can you cancel? When can you reschedule? Do not exclude yourself from this. Payment terms and pricing. How can your students pay you? What all the prices are. So it's all spelled out for them. They don't have to look for this information anywhere. They have this paper. It's pinned to your chat. I don't know. Or it's, wherever you keep all the information. And then lesson package conditions. What are the packages and, what conditions they are? How, can they cancel lessons, if they buy a package, or maybe they can cancel 2 times in a month, what is the time period they buy a 10 lesson package? Do they have to study them all in 1 month, or they can spread them by 3 months? But if those 3 months pass and they don't use up this package, does it, disappear? Like, or can they move it over? So this also has to be clearly explained here. Now, finally, the legal side of the business. This is an important thing when when you're just starting, when you have one or two students, maybe you can overlook that. But the sooner you look into this, the sooner you know what you need to be ready for, the better. So, of course, different countries will have different regulations, and I cannot tell you exactly what it is for you. You need to see if whether you need to register as a small business entity, or you can register as a private independent professional, like self-employed person. Do you have to be an entrepreneur? So what is your legal status? That has to be how much tax do you have to pay? What kinds of qualifications may you need to have if you're a teacher and this is a teaching business? Are there any social security or healthcare requirements? And then one thing that is also some people don't know about is that some governments will have uh, sort of systems in place installed to help professionals. And you can pay a small sort of installment every month that will be a fund for your holiday pay, for your sick leave that the government will pay you back with extra. And so there are certain programs that help individual professionals, independent professionals like that in many countries. So it's worth consulting maybe a local accountant or a local business consultant about that they can, help you understand what kind of things you can use, what kind of programs you can participate in that incentivizes, smaller businesses and supports them. And then finally, we have just a few minutes, competition and growth. This will come in much later, maybe not much later, maybe you grow like a superstar, and I hope you do. But this is basically for teachers who already have their independent practice, so what to do next. First of all, how do you deal with competition? How do you stand out from the crowd of other teachers because the market is saturated? You have to step away from course books. I always say that this is not tailored enough. A lot of students who come to me now, and I see this huge difference between like what happened 6 years ago, 10 years ago, and what happens today, is that years ago people just came, I want to move from level to level and study for years with you, and I still have those students with me. They've been with me for years. They moved from beginner level to advanced level, and they still can't let go of me. But I also have new students who come and they have a very specific pain that they want me to help them with. Is it preparing for a specific interview? Do they want to enroll in a university? Do they want to deliver a presentation? Are they planning to go to an exposition, and they want to, they have a booth there. It's an agricultural thing. I had a student like that. And you prepare them for this specific thing. You help them, you devise a plan. So personalized learning plans, addressing specific student needs, creating tailored materials for your students. And also you have to use modern platforms and goals. People right now are completely spoiled by such platforms as Duolingo, where everything is clickable, where everything can be moved, it's easy to access, they open the app, they can see all their progress. There are platforms, there are many places where you can do that. If you just send them a PDF, they will choose a person, they will choose a teacher who makes it interactive, who makes it easily accessible for them, and interesting for them over you. So this is how you stay competitive. Research what the market today is, what kind of platforms you can use, and use them. And then, because there are subscriptions, you will need to incorporate that in your monthly budgeting and your expenses. And I probably have to finish very soon, but give me a few more minutes. Most important thing, do not compare yourself to others in a way that this teacher is doing that and they're more successful than me, or that teacher is doing that, they're more successful than me, or this school is doing that. Just do what corresponds with your values, with your core principles, what you feel good at, and compare yourself with your yesterday self, with yourself 6 months ago, with yourself a year ago, and see yourself in the future and go that way. Only compare yourself with you and focus on your own growth. Okay, I don't have time for that, and I will not build a community, but okay, one more thing, targeting your clients. This is narrowing it down a bit more. So this is about finding your ideal clients. You need to think this about more about posting and marketing. So think about what pain your student has. what opportunities they're missing because they don't know the language, or they have the language barrier, or they haven't studied with you. What opportunities are they missing? What have they tried that didn't work? And what would make them choose you over the others? You need to adapt your offer to show this, to show that you can solve this problem, that you can make it work for them, and that they can help them grab the opportunities that they're missing right now with this. So instead of saying, hey, I teach business English, you can say, I teach tech professionals who want to work with international companies, and I prepare them for interviews. Or I help HR managers conduct hiring interviews with global teams. Things like that is what will help you stand out and target particular clients. And in your posts, emails, chats, write about those things. Create a light bulb moment for for your clients, that oh, this is exactly what I've been looking for. They might not even know that, but they saw your post and go, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. And they will email you or contact you. Okay, I think I have to finish now. Thank you very much.